are you doing today, guys?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I'm doing great.
I'm
And you?
sick.
How are you doing?
I'm sick. Well, I'm getting over something. But
Oh no,
yeah,
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry too. To feel it, I guess.
Right.
So,
So, Dr. Bonnie, what are we opening up today?
We are opening up cherry pie Pinot Noir from San Luis Obispo.
oh yum. Wow, thank you very much. This is really good. And what else? What are we opening up about today, Dr. Bonnie? Why don't you tell us a little bit about the topic?
Well, we're opening up today on the topic of hope.
Mm,
And to begin, I have, of course, an original poem.
wonderful.
It's called Be Hopeful. When things are confusing and chaotic, know that even though you don't see it yet, hope will take hold and turn things around. When life is frazzled and frenzied, know that even though you don't feel it yet, hope will take root and grow in abundance. When you feel sad, alone, and depressed, know that even though you don't perceive it yet, hope is leading to a new light of day. Be hopeful. Darkness will not prevail. Be hopeful. Justice will rain down from the heavens. Be hopeful. Easter joy is on the other side of Good Friday. Be hopeful. Christ is with us.
Beautiful.
And that's an awesome
Can you tell
poem.
us a little bit about this poem of hope that you wrote?
Well, I always find it important for myself to be hopeful. So many of my poems I wrote to cheer myself up. So this was one that I wrote when I was not feeling very hopeful,
Mhm.
and it helped me. And when I share it with other people, they also tell me, I pray with that one. And so that's where that comes from. A lot of my poetry is written as prayer, and so
Mhm.
some of it is like dialogue with God. You'll hear that in some of my poems.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's a word that I need to hear that day.
Very St. Augustine. Like a prayer to God.
That's right. That's right. So I think it's good for us to explore the topic of hope because we are still in the Jubilee Year of Hope,
Mhm.
and we have just a few more weeks left. And I thought that back porch topic would be really good to open up about. So I was wondering if you, McQueen, have been thinking about the role of hope in your life. What does hope mean to you? Let's start with your definition of hope, if you don't mind.
So, my definition of hope is like, well, I see hope in the kindness of other people and how they portray to others, and that makes me feel hopeful. Being able to know that one can impact another person's life and allow them to experience that sense of joy and love. I think that's very hopeful. That community sense, like in the last podcast I did talk about community, but that kindness is good.
Very good. So you see hope in the way that people come together as community to support one another.
Yes.
Good, good, good. What about you, Antonio?
I had a definition of hope. Gurav asked me this about a year ago, that it was like looking at the future, or looking for something good to happen in the future, like looking to graduate or looking to be ordained. But I was taking a class called Spirituality of Aging last year, and in it we talked about hope, and the professor was giving an example of a conversation with somebody, and in this conversation it was about college students, and this professor said, all these young people that are in the classroom, they have all these plans, and they want to get out there, and they want to graduate, and they want to have jobs, and they want to have a family, and they just have all these plans for the future, but they have no hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very confused at what that meant, because to me that sounded like hope. And I struggled a little bit with that part, because I said, if that's not hope, then what is it? And what we arrived at was that it's not wishful thinking. Something magical is going to happen, and so it puts this idea of hope even beyond life. The hope of the resurrection, the hope that our life doesn't end when we die, and that we may get the job, or we may get the graduation or whatever, or we may not, but that doesn't mean that our life has ended. That we remember that there's something bigger beyond us.
Very good. So it's good for us to remember that it's a theological virtue.
Yes.
Right.
Along with the other theological virtues of faith and love. So
Right.
faith, hope, and charity. Right. So in that case, then the way that we usually use hope in regular conversation is, I'll see you tomorrow. I hope so.
Yeah.
That's not really hope. That's just kind of, as you said, wishful thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of understanding that a theological virtue connects us with God, so that
Mhm.
hope is beyond the here and now. Hope is leading us beyond this life into eternal life.
Yeah.
Right.
I was really amazed at how Pope Francis, God rest his soul, declared this the Year of Hope. And he wanted us to reflect on exactly that eschatological relationship with God, that it's more than just in this life but beyond. But he not only set out the road for us, but he walked it himself.
Mhm.
And the fact that he walked into eternal life is to me a model of what he meant by laying out this Jubilee Year of Hope.
Yeah.
So I was just really amazed by that when I thought about hope in this Jubilee year.
As you say that, I'm very touched by that, because I think his life also impacted, because of the way he taught with it, the way he lived. His preaching was simple but impactful, and I think it touched many persons, and I think that also created that sense of hope, and the way he died too, like you said earlier. Yeah, I think it's the here and now too, like hope in the here and now. It's like the friendships we make too, in like how do you hold on to these things and see. I hope that things get better, and that's what a lot of persons are looking at in the world. Like they hope that for things to get better, and it's through God and through prayer that we find that hope, that virtues of hope too.
That even though we don't see it,
Right.
we know that in God things will work out for the best.
Right.
That as God wills it to happen.
I remember when I was taking this class, one of the things that helped me understand this concept of hope was that I was ministering at the time at a senior community, a retirement community, and there was a lady there who had some form of cancer, and it was terminal, and she was pretty close to dying, and so I got a priest to come, and I came with the priest and another lady from the complex. We went to be with her as the priest gave her the last rites. And when we were talking to her, she was just very welcoming, and she was very happy to see us, and we were talking. And the priest gave her last rites, and before we left, we're just sort of saying goodbye to her. And she said, among other things, she said that there were some good things that were coming out of her passing. And among many other things, she said that she didn't have to deal with taxes anymore because she didn't like doing taxes, but also that she was really looking forward to seeing some old friends. And that when she said that, I had been struggling with the conversation that my professor told us about in class, and that made it make sense to me, because it's like, yeah, she's on the one sense you can say, okay, I don't have to deal with taxes anymore, so that's just hopeful wishful thinking of like, thank God I don't have to do this anymore. But then there's also something beyond all of this, right? Like I'm going into something else, and I'm gonna see some good friends. That really gave me that big sense of, yeah, hope has to do with eternal life.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
It is.
Yes. So, how do you think you can be a sign of hope to people?
That's a very interesting question too. I think in terms of I don't know, like sharing our own selves with others. I think that could be a sign of hope. I think evangelizing with our own life, the way we live, could be a way that hope could be portrayed to others, and I hope that it impacts others too.
Mm-hmm. That maybe their idea of how things are in the world right now are in need of some assistance,
Right.
to unfold in the way that we think God wants things to unfold. You know, that proverb that the arc of history bends toward justice.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, in pretty much every situation, every era of human existence, there's always been something that makes us wonder, will we survive this? Will
Right.
there be a future? And so when people look at you and say, there must be a future, because why else are these people studying? Why are they preparing for ministry if
Right.
they don't believe that there's a future? And so your very existence, the fact that you are looking forward toward ordination, is a sign of hope that things are going in that direction. So
As you say that, I'm reminded of my CPE at Mercy Hospital in New York City, and I'm just amazed that we're speaking about this topic of hope, because in that same hospital setting where you have so many persons living in that uncertainty of not knowing whether they will be able to get out this next day, or will they be there for 2 months or a year, I think chaplains, they did have a role to play in being that sense of hope for others. My experience is by visiting many of the patients, they were very, very happy to see that there was somebody coming to sit and speak with them, and to listen to them, and I think that gave them hope to maybe wait till the next day for when we came back to visit them again. So as you spoke about that thing, so
Yeah, one of the things reflecting on this idea of hope is that what happens if you how do I frame it? No, not about what happening is. I think we can see hope more in the face of despair, right? The challenges of life make hope shine through the clouds, because if our lives are easy, and if everything is going like really well, and we're just happy about it, and everything just is smooth sailing, then there's really no need for hope. There's
Right.
really not, I hope this gets better, or anything, right? It kind of, I guess, kind of becomes boring, because you don't have anything else to look forward to, because everything is going well. And as opposed to when things are dark, when you go through a loss of someone that you love, or when you're going through a challenging time, right? This is where maybe the glimpse of hope that maybe one day this will get better. Maybe one day I will get over my sadness, or maybe one day I'll stop crying, right? And I think that's where we see the hope. So it's, your poem says it very beautifully about, yes, there is Good Friday, but there's also Resurrection Sunday. But we say, we've heard it in spiritual circles a lot, that there is no Resurrection Sunday, there's no Easter without Good Friday. And so it's that duality of the suffering and the hope.
Kind of like
complement each other.
two sides of the same coin,
Yes.
right? You can't have one side without the other. And when you mentioned against the starkness, that's where hope shines. I really like that image. Wonderful. So, in terms of hope for others, what would you say how has us are looking at this Jubilee Year of Hope helped you in your own relationship with God? Has it solidified anything in you, or has it been something that you weren't even aware of? How did the Jubilee Year of Hope play out for you?
Well, a confession time, I guess. I'm really bad about Jubilee years.
Why is that?
Because we're in the Jubilee year, and it's heavily promoted, and we see it in church circles and whatever. But I kind of I see it there, but I'm not fully in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I know we're in the year of hope, and we're reflecting about hope and thing. And so whenever I've had to preach, I try, over the past year, I have thought about how can I incorporate hope into this. But other than that, in terms of living it day by day, I'm not very good at reminding myself of that. All right, so it's maybe a good challenge to say, oh, how am I living hope, or how is hope impacting my life today? So yeah, I'm not sure I'm very good at that about that question.
Okay, well that's an honest question.
It is an
Thank you
honest
for
answer.
opening
Yes,
up about that.
of course.
How about you, McQueen?
Well, I want to try to be very honest. I think maybe I would say after looking up at the news every single time, every day, to get in touch with what's going on in the world, I think that's me looking for hope that things will get better. And I think that's why I saw it. That was a sign for me there in that Jubilee Year of Hope.
Mm-hmm.
When I spoke to a friend of mine, she's like, oh, we're in this Jubilee year, but I don't see things getting better. And I was like, I had to remind her, I say, maybe we need to be patient and allow the Spirit to work its work, because God works in His time and not in our timing. Maybe there's lessons that we need to learn now. And I think that's where I maybe saw that hope, that Jubilee Year of Hope, by being able to listen to my friend and then give her that type of maybe consolation, or maybe in terms of the conversation we were having. But to say that I practice it, I hope that I do practice it on a daily basis by how I live in community with my brothers, where there is always that time of wanting to be there together at dinner or community activities the next day or every Friday. So I hope it comes out in that way, but in other ways, yes. Yeah.
Life still has its daily struggles.
It does,
Even as we're trying to be more mindful of the hope that God brings to us. And sometimes we forget to look beyond the struggle. Sometimes we forget that there is something beyond the struggle.
Right.
And I think that's something that this Jubilee Year of Hope has done for me, is the invitation to always look beyond the moment and to say, okay, things are bad right now. I understand.
Right.
But tomorrow is another day, and there will be an opportunity for God's power to be shown.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be in the way that I think God should show God's power. I mean, I'm not God's boss.
Right.
But thank God. But I think it's an awareness that we don't get the final word.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that this world is not completely in our control. Yes, we are here to do the good that we can while we're here, but ultimately it rests in God, who is our beginning and our middle and our end.
Just agree to that.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to
Cheers
that.
to that.
So, in other words, then, when we're looking at hope, what would you say to any young people who might be feeling discouraged right now? Young people, old people, anybody that you think might need a good word. What kind of advice would you give them in looking for hope?
I think my advice would be, you know, this church have this whole sense of synodality.
Synodality?
I think we could find hope in that, where we are open to listening to one another, to supporting one another. That sense, I think everything goes back to that community sense. And I think if we foster that, then, because all of us have different gifts that we could put on the table, and that would allow us to thrive in this world. And I think that will bring a sign of hope. It's like looking for a support team, looking for a community where you feel comfortable, a place where you could call home and say, we're going to work on this together. I think that would be a sign of hope. That's my advice for the young and the old. I think we have to go back to that sense of community. And instead of that, it's only me, I'm only looking out for me, but let's look out for all of us together.
It would be, I would see it as countercultural.
Right.
Because, you know, here in the U.S., we're very strong on individualism.
Right.
Rugged individualism, we call it. You know, lift yourself up by your own bootstraps, you know, and don't bother anybody.
Right.
You know, don't be needy. That's kind of how our society wants us to be here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And it's countercultural to what we are called to as Christ the head and its members, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Antonio?
I think that one of the advice I would give someone who is trying to find hope is, I'll start by saying this. I think that when we're having a difficult time and that we're seeking for hope, it's not every bad day all of it is not bad. Right? There are good things, and every good day everything is not good. So there's a little bit of on everything. And so my advice would be to say, pay attention in your life today. What are you grateful for today? Because I think gratitude can really help us see beyond what we're focusing on or what is bringing us down, and say, yes, I am going through this and I am struggling and I'm suffering and I cannot see beyond today, but there are other things happening around me, and if I take my eyes away from this point and I'm able to look at something that I'm grateful for, then I can recognize that there are blessings in my life. And this reminds me that everything is not bad, that there will be something that I can have good things as well.
That's beautiful. Yes, a grateful heart is the throne of God.
Yes.
It's another one of those sayings that you see on mugs. Signs.
Yes.
But yes, when we're grateful, then we can't be complaining.
Yeah.
You know, and I really appreciate the perspective that in a good day, not everything is good, and in a bad day, not everything is bad.
Yeah.
So what about you? What advice would you give Dr. Bonnie?
I would. I know I'm still getting used to the title Dr. Bonnie too. So thank you for using it. But my name is Bonnie.
Next time I will say Bonnie.
It's a occupational hazard for being one of my students. So, so I would say also that hope comes in little pieces, and it comes slowly, and so patience is important, and the opportunity to look at life as it's unfolding, kind of like a flower opens. You know, not everything is always out there all the time, but we're alive, and so things are changing, things are growing, and hope is one of those things that I think is like a seed that's planted in our hearts by God, and it continues to grow and blossom.
That's wonderful. Remember, you asked us about our definition of.
That's our another special guest that we have that you can hear her. Her name is Sophia,
Right.
and she wanted to be part of the podcast today.
Right. So remember, you asked us our definition of hope. So I think you did not give us your definition. So I think maybe you should tell us, what does it mean for you?
Okay, so I guess I would define hope as something that is on the horizon, something good that is on the horizon, something that God has in store for us that we can't yet see. And so I would say that I guess I would define hope as that which brings about goodness that we do not see today. So, did you say how you are a sign of hope to people?
No, I did
How
not.
are you a sign of hope to people?
I just walk around.
Just walking
I
around?
just walk around and. Sorry, I don't know. I really don't know if I am a sign of hope to people or how I am a sign of hope to people. But my wish for my life is that I can find hope within my own life, and that hopefully there's something that I can do in people's lives that shows the love of God, right? That says that if I can bring a smile to someone's face, so the people that know me, I'm very silly, and I like to just make people laugh if I can, and so if that brings joy to someone, that could be a reminder of hope. That because even when I'm sad, or even when I'm sick or whatever, like I'm always cracking a joke. That's why people don't always think that I'm serious when I'm sick or whatever. But if that can make someone laugh and bring a little bit of joy to someone's life, I think that could be a sign of hope.
And you don't know it either. You don't
Right.
know how
No.
you are a sign of hope
No.
to others. So, of course, I have to tell a little story from my life of 100 years.
Yeah.
I'm working on my
Providence.
100.
Greetings to people from Providence.
Hi,
School.
Providence people. So this actually is a story from Providence.
Oh.
We were at our 40th high school reunion. This was a while back. And one of my classmates asked if she could talk to me. And I said, sure, yes. She says, I want you to know what an influence you've had in my life. She said, I wanted to commit suicide, but I saw your face in front of me say, it's not worth it. Don't do it. And so I'm here today to tell you that you saved my life. I didn't know I was a sign of hope to her. I would have not known it if she hadn't come to our 40th reunion. But I found that to be a real grace, that somehow God wanted me to have that message, that unbeknownst to anybody, I was a sign of hope to her.
That's a powerful story.
I'm sorry?
That's a powerful story.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's this saying, like, always put a smile on your face when you meet people along the street, because you don't know what they're going through, because then you could add a smile onto their face and maybe save them from something. So I think you were there at the right time.
Thank you. So we want to thank our permanent guest, McQueen, and our other four-legged
permanent
guest, Sophia. Thank you, Antonio, for your
Yeah,
creative genius and co-hosting, production, management, all of the above.
Thank you.
Next week, we're going to open up about some topic that everyone is touched by.
Amen.
Okay.
And I'm not going to give away what it is.
You have to
You'll
tune
have
in
to tune
watch it,
in.
Yes.
And and join us as we explore and open up another topic. So, commercial next Saturday. Well, Saturday, October 25th, is the book signing for my Watching While Waiting at Barnes & Noble on San Pedro at Ison. We also would like for you, if you would like our podcast, if you would leave a message for us, either on my Facebook page or on the YouTube so that we can see if you like this, if it's going in a direction that's helpful to you. And if you have suggestions of things you'd like to see us open up about,
Yes.
we would certainly entertain those.
Leave it on the comments, please, and we would love to entertain the idea of opening up about what are you curious about, what are the topics that you would like us to touch on and to talk about. And before we go, why don't we leave a question or questions for all the people listening to us at home?
Well, I would like to leave the same 3 questions that we dealt with. And the first one is, what does hope mean to you? How are you a sign of hope in the world? And what has this Jubilee Year of Hope meant to you? Okay.
And I approve this message.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we'll see you all on the next episode of Open Up.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.